All right, so we are doing our official addressing the envelope lesson today. So there's a lot of mistakes that can happen here, so I really need your listening ears on really strong here. You'll notice we're all using Carmody Middle School envelopes because we really want whoever gets this letter to know that we've been doing this through a school project. So one of the very first things I want you to notice is that on any envelope, there's always this return address in the corner. So we've got our Jeffco Schools logo, and then we've got Carmody Middle School, and this is the address that some of you used as the writer's address in your friendly letter, which was totally fine to do, I said. What this return address is primarily for is if, for whatever reason, the address that we are mailing this letter to doesn't work, we write it incorrectly, they've moved and we didn't know that they've moved, the mailman, the United States Postal Service, needs to be able to send this letter back to you so you're aware it never was received and you can try and find out the new address and remail it. So this return address is super important. It's going to be important in this case as well because there's probably going to be a few of them that are sent back just from mistakes that we write or incorrect addresses if people have moved. So in order to make this easier on our office staff, we are going to put a notation above the return address here, so if they see it, they'll know exactly whose mailbox to put this in, and then I'll know exactly who to give it to. So what I want you to do is above this logo, I want you to write Hartman, and then I want you to write your last name. Okay, so for instance, I'm going to say Johnny Smith wrote this letter. Johnny Smith is a 6th grader, and Johnny would be putting Hartman and then Smith. Okay, it won't be perfect because I have some repeated last names, but it will help for sure. Okay, so make sure you all have done that where you put Hartman, a hyphen or dash, and your last name. So then if it comes back to our school address, our secretaries will know, put it in my box and I will find the owner of the letter. All right, so zooming back out to the whole envelope, before we even start to put the actual address on the envelope, I need for you to understand that there is a correct location on the envelope. Okay, so you're going to very lightly sketch a rectangle like so, as centered as possible. Oh, you can't even see that. I'm going to come up close so you can see it. All right, so you're sketching that rectangle. I'll make mine a little darker so you can see it. Pencil doesn't always make it real clear here. It's kind of the same shape and size as a mailing label. Just to demonstrate for you, this is a sample, and they've got their address kind of in that middle area right there. Theirs has even kind of gone a little low if you've asked me. All right, so let's come back to this. So within our rectangle, and some of you may choose to get rid of the rectangle at the end, that's up to you. You don't need the rectangle there, but it's just helping you get it in the right spot. This is where you're going to start the top line with the correct first and last name. Even if you don't call the person by this, you do not put Grandma B on an envelope to get it mailed by the United States Post Office. They are looking for real names. So my person, even though I call her Mom Kissel, her name is Barbara Kissel. So I've got a first and last name, which I am realizing now that you can't see either with that pencil. So I'm going to come in closer and I'm showing you I'm writing this in my rectangle. The next thing you're going to do, after you have your first and last name, is you're going to do your street address. As you recall, my lesson at the beginning of this was that a street address includes a number first, unless it's a P.O. box. That would be the difference, but most of these won't be P.O. boxes. And then the street name. You capitalize all parts of the street name. A lot of you will have like a south or north in front of the street name. This one doesn't happen to have one. This one is just Graham, and it's court. You can write out the word court, or you can just do capital CT, period. There are a lot of abbreviations. If it's too hard for you to figure out the abbreviation, that's totally fine. Just write the whole word out. Like I could just spell court, C-O-U-R-T. If you want to know how to do the abbreviation, we'll take a second now and I can help you out. Make sure you capitalize, and if you abbreviate, put a period. All right, I think what I'll do, instead of helping people figure out abbreviations, I am going to quickly list some common ones, like boulevard, avenue, way, street. That's all I can think of right now. I'm sure you have some more. Oh, for the beginning of it, you might have a south or a north, or an east, or a west. Oh, I forgot an obvious one. Drive. All of which are capitalized, and if they're abbreviated, you make sure you put a period. So that gives you a summary of some very common abbreviations. Don't write all of these on your envelope, obviously. Okay, I'm going to erase those so you don't think that they actually go there. Next, we go to city, state, and zip, except some of you might be wondering, I have a number, or I have a unit, or I have, an apartment or a townhouse, number or letter. So you have two options. Most people would just put that here, like number 5B. Okay? If you really want to write it on this next line, you can, but this is the most appropriate way to do it. So if you have a unit number, or an apartment number, a townhouse, condo, whatever it is, you would put it there. I do not, so I'm erasing that. Now we're going to go to city. We do not ever put the city on the same line as we put the street address. This is just United States Postal Service rules. Okay? Just to confirm it for you. Sorry about that glitch. Here's an example. We have a street number, street name, Philadelphia as the city, state. Okay, and actually we should be looking at this format. We're not doing the all caps format. This is the one where we do abbreviations, capitalize, and periods, and commas, and such. That's the traditional form. Never put the city on the same line. So my city is Rifle. Many of you are writing to Lakewood or Littleton. Make sure you spell it right. Make sure you capitalize it. Spell out that city. And now everybody needs to put a comma after the city. Then we go into state codes. So that's the abbreviation for a state. States are 2 digits, 2 letters, and they are both capital letters. Colorado, all of you should know, are 2 capital letters, C-O. Okay, I know a lot of you are writing to other states, so I wanted to let you know I do have this. It's going to be awfully hard for you to read on this recording, but I'm going to shine it up for a second in case you can. Some of these are awfully dark. If you're one of these states down here and you need to know your abbreviation, you simply raise your hand. You are using the postal abbreviation, the 2-digit capital. The standard one isn't even used anymore. I'm not even sure why those are in this. Oh, it's probably an old book that I got it from. Oh, look at that. And I also have those abbreviations I spoke of earlier that I can help you with if you need those. All right, after the state, we've got city, comma, state, and then we do the zip code. That's a 5-digit number. Super important when you're mailing. If you don't have your zip code, you're out of luck. Mine is 81650. Carmody is 80227. Very close to Carmody is 80226. Littleton has several that I know by heart because I live in Littleton. Beyond that, you got to know your zip code. So if you don't have that, you need to raise your hand now, and we're going to try and figure out what to do. So it's as simple as that to address it. However, I'm going to probably find that some of you didn't catch that. So let's go over really quickly again. Capitalize first and last name. Has to be their real name. Doesn't have to have their middle name. That's not necessary. Street address, number, capitalize street name, capitalize abbreviations, period at the end of abbreviations. Third line, capitalize the city, comma after the city, 2-letter abbreviation for the state, 5-digit zip code. 3 lines, and these should be exactly formatted like this. Notice they all line up equally right here. So for some of you, you're like, this box bugs me, and that's what people don't normally do. Some people use mailing labels, and it looks maybe like a mailing label, but if it bugs you, you can erase the box. We're definitely not finished, though. We still have no way for this to actually go in the mail, because we are missing a very important piece up here. The old word for it was postage, which just means the stamp or the sticker that goes in the corner that we paid for. And we pay for this because the post office could not afford to run things without some kind of income. So we're paying for stamps so that they can afford to actually take our things places, afford their trucks, afford their salaries, afford the gas for their trucks, afford the mechanics, and etc. So we're going to get a stamp. Hang on. So this seems really simple, but I wanted to put it in the video anyway. Your stamp has an upside and a downside. You should know your flag. This is a flag one. There are lots of different ones. You put it in that top right corner. Okay? We'll take a moment where I come around and pass out stamps, and you're going to put it in that top right corner. And finally, we have something else really important, right? We need to put the actual letter in the envelope. So like many of you, I stapled my letter because I had multiple pages. Okay, so I've stapled it together. I'm going to zoom out so you can see how you fold these letters to fit in this particular envelope. Okay, as you can see, this is not going to fit if I fold it in half. If you look at the size of the envelope, that's not going to fit. Okay, so the best way to do it is to tri-fold it, which means you're folding it into 3. So you need 2 lines of folding. Okay? Some of you are going to struggle with this, and I'll take some time to come around and help with this if you can't do it. So when you fold the first one, you should then have pretty equal sides. Okay? This is pretty equal to this, which is good. Okay? So that piece will now fold on top of the other, and that's a tri-fold. So you can see there's 3 parts. 2 creases. If that helps, I'll hold it like that. So you fold it into a tri-fold. So we'll wait till everybody gets their tri-fold done. And then the next part is we're going to put it in the envelope. All right, we should be ready to put it in the envelope. I'm going to slide that right in there. It fits perfectly. So envelope, friendly letter. Now we have this little edge that we simply lick to stick. I'm not videotaping myself licking it, but that stripe right there and there are now wet. And I'm simply folding that over and pressing down. And it's like a glue, so now it's stuck down. I wouldn't try and rip it up or make a mess of it. So now, this person, being me, and now many of you, has a completed addressed envelope ready to be mailed out with the USPS, United States Postal Service. And I will send these out today, and we'll find out who's going to get letters back. Okay? All right, so my directions at this point would be, if you have a completed, sealed, stuffed, stamped, and addressed envelope, and you know you're ready to go, please bring that up to my front stool, my brown stool that is right there to the side of my smartboard, and we'll stack them there. My next job is going to be to double check your accuracy of your address. So if it's wrong, I'm going to nag you and make you fix it. So make sure that's right. Okay, good job. You've done a wonderful, fantastic job of getting that ready. If you're having any difficulties, raise your hand and we'll mail these out.